Dear Johnny Depp, thank you, thank you, thank you 1,000 times. Thank you from the very bottom of my heart. Thank you. You are a brother to all men and a hero to all like me who have experienced abuse and reputation attacks from a woman. You have held up your ex as an example of female abuse to the world. You have overcome epic hurdles to do so. You have done so with patience, class, and grace that most of us can only hope to ever achieve. Whether you win or lose, it doesn't matter. At the highest stakes possible, you have triumphed in clearing your name against false accusations. While perhaps your circumstances make it easier to fight back than most male victims, I know it has not been easy for you. As you said yourself, quote, the last few years have felt like a perverse situation that was inflicted on me. It hurts. End quote. While there is legitimacy to men projecting strength and denying victimhood, there is also a rampant and toxic suppression of male victimhood that only serves abusers. Having experienced similar patterns of abuse myself, including the reputation attacks, I know what it feels like to have nothing to lose after being falsely labeled an abusive man. However, I also feel a freedom in that. While I don't have your platform, money, or legal opportunities, I suppose in my own way I have benefited from hitting reputation rock bottom. Having the worst possible things said about you believed is similar to what it feels like to be robbed. Even after one of my abusive exes made a retraction statement and publicly admitted to being a compulsive liar and having BPD, borderline personality disorder, people still to this day believe what she said about me in her attack video, or at least claim to for political purposes. But the ultimate freedom I have embraced is knowing that I have nothing to hide and nothing to be ashamed of. So let me be subject to scrutiny. I can take it, but that's not enough. We have to stand up against those abusers and stop the behavior. We must raise our own consciousness and that around us to stand up to abusers. You have shown the world a powerful example of female abuse that our politically correct, or rather honesty suppressed, culture has denied and allowed to flourish for too long. You have brought taboo subjects to light and allowed your own case to give everyone a safe way to talk about it. You have taken a sledgehammer to the male as victimizer and female as victim bias. But there are much bigger dynamics and important unspoken truths that need to be brought to light. Ultimately, the failures of our generation of men are the results of the deficiencies of our fathers. We have allowed family courts to be weaponized, further incentivizing weaponizing governments against loved ones and false accusations. The consequences of making false accusations pales in comparison to the consequences of being a victim of them. And cops and prosecutors are almost never held accountable. However, their deepest failures are not institutional, but spiritual. They failed to teach us how to be men and how to set healthy boundaries in the modern world. Perhaps there was a natural sway away from men's power with industrialization, taking much of men's physical economic advantages, but women are not the enemy here. The powers that be have set the genders against each other. The real goal of the predator class is, as always, to dominate and to exploit. Many will see you as a hero of men, of divine masculinity, fighting back and winning against toxic femininity with incredible grace and poise. Well, not at all untrue. The reason your case is getting more underground in independent media coverage than in the mainstream, where the point is often missed, is that you are an example of a human being standing up to dishonesty and manipulation. Certainly, as a victim of similar abuse from toxic females, I deeply appreciate that you have exposed Amber Heard as a great prototype of toxic femininity. There's so many lessons about society and gender relations to be taken from your case. Perhaps most poignantly, men need to be better at setting healthy boundaries while not accepting toxic behavior when hidden by a pretty face. While Amber's responsibility for her crimes is clear to me, I am truly sympathetic when I think of the hell on earth she may face for the rest of her life as a poster child for toxic femininity and whatever abuse she experienced in childhood to make her so deeply toxic. But that loses sight of the bigger picture. The chance for our generation of men to fight back and lead humanity to a better place. Why did you fall for Amber in the first place? Why does anyone fall for an abusive partner? Why do we still put up with toxic institutions and toxic politicians? When someone is discredited as a dishonest manipulator, they should not only be exposed, but held accountable. As in personal relationships, give an abusive government an inch, next thing you know, we've all got full-blown COVID. In fact, every sign of an abusive relationship applies to our government. According to the Workplace Mental Health Institute, you may be in an abusive relationship if they, 1, stop you seeing friends and family. 2, won't let you go out without permission. 3, tell you what to wear. 4, monitor your phone or emails. 5, control the finances or won't let you work. 6, control what you read, watch, and say. 7, monitor everything you do. 8, punish you for breaking the rules, but the rules keep changing. 9, tell you it is for your own good and that they know better. 10, don't allow you to question it. 11, tell you you're crazy and no one agrees with you. 12, call you names or shame you for being stupid or selfish. 13, gaslight you, challenge your memory of events, make you doubt yourself. 14, dismiss your opinions. 15, play the victim. If things go wrong, it's all your fault. The most toxic, abusive relationships in the world are today, as they always have been, between the rulers and the ruled. While humanity dances gloriously ever forward, every generation must win freedom for itself from new threats. This trial is not about you. This trial is not about the male victims of toxic females. This trial is not about celebrity culture. This trial is about heroic triumph against aggression following a failure to set boundaries. To properly appreciate your example, we must acknowledge your initial failures to set boundaries and invite that toxicity into your life. By facing this as you have done that and subjected yourself to horrific scrutiny. You had to acknowledge that you were a victim. You had to assert that what was done to you was not okay and that those responsible should be held accountable. In a perfect world, that would mean you get to go after the ACLU and the Washington Post and everyone who knowingly or carelessly spread false accusations. The suppression of the validity of male victimhood is in the best interest of abusive governments everywhere. If they can make toxic femininity culturally acceptable and make tolerating lies, manipulation, and emotional abuse the norm, then they then take away our ability to stand up for ourselves. What chance do we have of standing up against the powers that be? Anyone learning how to stand up for themselves in any way and flexing and building that muscle is a threat to governments all over the world. As a bit of a pirate myself and a big fan of the Pirates of the Caribbean, perhaps the greatest tragedy in all of this is that Amber Heard killed Jack Sparrow. When researching the films, I was heartbroken to learn of the deleted scene in which Jack Sparrow says about transporting slaves, humans can't be cargo, mate. It's critical to his backstory of standing up to the East India Trading Company and becoming a pirate. The true history of the pirates as war veterans who liberated slaves and stole from empires is all too untold. In fact, without the golden age of piracy, we might have never had the American Revolution. I know from your work on the Memphis 3 case and your tattoo commemorating it that you're not just another actor in it for the fame and the money. Clearly, you have a deep-seated and very admirable sense of injustice. As my abusers robbed me of time and energy to help others, I wonder what good you could have done if not for your abuser, but you and I both have many years ahead of us still and much more work to do. For your acting, you won my admiration. For your demonstration of character, you have won my loyalty. I hope you find peace and happiness, and while I know you have already created an abundance of love around yourself, perhaps on top of that, if the great gods of all the pirates have as warm a spot for you in their hearts as I have in mine, perhaps the romantic love you've been brutally denied as well. But more importantly, I hope your passion to achieve the greatest justice possible burns as brightly as ever, that you will set your sights on higher targets now that your reputation has been, at least as much as possible for now, fully restored. And I look forward to seeing you give Jack Sparrow the inspirational send-off he deserves in Pirates of the Caribbean 6. For humanity's sake, and all our fellow pirates at heart. Your brother, Adam Kokesh, a.k.a. Captain Freebeard.